Hey guys, thanks for joining me. I wanted to go through and show everybody how to take notes on pageburst, and that's the software that we got with our books when we started the semester. And what I mean by taking notes is that as you're reading, you can highlight useful information, and then when it comes time to take tests and you don't remember ever reviewing that chapter, you can go back and read your notes that you took on it so that you don't have to read the whole chapter again. It saves a lot of time. The other advantage to taking notes while you're reading is that you can actually share those notes with somebody else, and then they don't have to read that chapter. They just have to review the notes, which can actually save a lot of time, because we know that reading one chapter can take, well, it can take me anywhere between an hour and 2 hours to read one chapter, and some chapters are even longer than that. So just reviewing notes can actually save a lot of time. So let's say that you had a reading group going, and or a study group, and okay, you say you give this person 4 chapters, and you give this person 4 chapters, and you give this person 4 chapters, and everybody reads their chapter, everybody creates notes, and everybody exchanges the notes with everybody else. Well, after you've reviewed the notes, it's like having read 12 chapters. So there's a lot of good that can come from these, and I want to show you how to actually create a good highlighted chapter. The first thing that you're going to want to know how to do is how to create a highlighter. Now this is the offline version of pageburst, where you've downloaded everything onto your to your laptop or what have you. And in order to create highlights with this, the first thing you want to do is come down here and create a new highlighter. And that's this button right down here. It says Create New Highlighter. Now we're going to be, just as an example, I'm going to be showing you notes from Potter and Perry Chapter 10. So I'm going to actually create a good name so that I'll be able to find it again. I'm going to call it Potter Chapter 10. I think it's about caring for families. If I can. Wow, my typing is horrible today. You'll have to forget it. And then just click your enter. Now what we will probably get into later is hit enter, is you can actually share these highlights with everybody else. What I'm going to be doing is showing you how to export these notes onto a Word file, and but I'll be doing another video on how to share these with just by share your highlighter, so that whenever you go through your pageburst, you'll be able to see exactly what they did take notes on and what they left out. So we're going to start off, we're going to go to our all titles section, and we're going to go to Potter and Perry, and we're already in chapter 10 here, which is called Family Caring. Now whenever you go through, there's a few key things that you're going to want to do. First I'm going to switch to that highlighter, which was Potter and Perry Chapter 12, Caring for Families, and you'll notice that it says the same thing up here at the top. The first thing that you want to highlight whenever you're highlighting the chapter is the chapter heading. Okay, the next, you can do the objectives if you want. I usually do, because it gives me a gist of what the chapter is trying to teach. The key terms are your vocabulary that actually is held within the chapter, and these are the pages that you'd find it on. And actually, as you go through and read, you're going to find those key terms anyway. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is every single heading that you come across, you highlight those. Sometimes, even if you have don't have anything in that section that you want to highlight, a lot of the answers that we get from quizzes and different things can actually come from these headings, and that's one thing that I've noticed. Now, whenever you are highlighting, there's a few other things that you want to do. You want to do anything in bold, which is your chapter headings, or anything that's in bold throughout the chapter. You want to do anything italicized, and italicized is kind of like this right here, where the letters are leaning in one direction or another. It kind of looks kind of weird. In this case, this italicized section is actually a vocabulary word. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to highlight the entire definition there, and just click highlight, and that's highlighted now. And then it gives you an example, and you can read the example if you want to. The examples are, most of the time you can get, or at least I can get, the gist of the vocabulary word just by reading the definition. But if you want an example, you can do that. And And here's another vocabulary word. I'm going to highlight that. And here's another one. And I'm going to highlight that. And you can go through and you can highlight anything else that you think that would be necessary to highlight. In this paragraph right here, the family's ability to adapt the role, that's kind of filler information. The family survives and thrives as a result of challenges they encounter from stressors. I'll go ahead and say that's worth highlighting. I'd rather highlight too much than not enough. You don't want to highlight so much that you're highlighting everything, because the purpose of highlighting is to get the key points out and leave behind other filler information. Anytime you come across a diagram, you want to highlight it all, and that's just a picture, so actually I'm not going to include that. But if you come across something like this, which is a box, boxes can take 3 pages worth of reading, and it can condense it down into one very small graphic box. Let's take a good paragraph here, and I'll give you an example of what you need to highlight in a paragraph. We'll try this paragraph right here. So generally speaking, the first sentence will kind of give you the whole gist. The first sentence or two will give you the gist of the paragraph. I usually do the first couple of sentences. And in this case, it says marital rules are also more complex as families increasingly comprise two-wage earners. And the majority of women work outside the home, and about 60% of mothers are in the workforce. And then you can go through here and you can say, if anything else, if you see any statistics, highlight statistics. For example, right here, 24% of children aged 0 to 4 have their fathers as caretakers, whether or not the fathers are employed. So that's a pretty good little statistic. That could actually end up being on a test. And you just go through here and you say, okay, the balance of the parent, child, and household duties is positive when the working parent's job. No, I don't know that I'd highlight that. There's no proof that maternal. Oh, there's a good one right there. There is no proof that maternal employment is damaging for children. I would say that is worth highlighting. So you can see all of this that we've actually left out here, and you've condensed this entire paragraph down to 3 sentences. And actually, that's a big paragraph. A lot of times, if you have a smaller paragraph like this, you may highlight the first sentence and maybe the last sentence or something like that. And there's another one. Divorce rates continue to be held in estimates of 54%. So anything with a statistic is something worth looking at. So I'm going to show you an example. Well, let's show you some other things that you would probably highlight. Anytime you see a diagram, and I'm not sure that there is any in this table, you want to highlight the table. And you're just going to go down through here. Now, tables don't export onto Word documents very easily. The information gets there, but it doesn't look as neat as it does in the book. So you might want to actually go to the book to look at your tables. I would highlight, these are just kind of another different section here. If you come across any diagrams, and I don't see any in this chapter, I don't see any diagrams in this chapter, but you'll have like just different diagrams that'll go through and explain something. And diagrams can actually condense a lot of reading down. So you want to do 1, you want to do anything that's bold. 2, anything italicized. 3, you want to do anything that's a vocabulary word, and those are pretty easy to see. You also want to do the chapter or the paragraph headings. Definitely, even if there's nothing in that paragraph that you find worthy to highlight, and actually that's pretty rare for me. You want to, and if you see any kind of statistics, you want to highlight that. Those are the kind of things that you want to bring out. Now I'll show you an example of a chapter that we have highlighted, and I'm having a hard time finding one right now, so I'm actually going to go back to my pageburst, and we're going to look at, we're going to view show what's inside the book. And I still have that book memorized or highlighted there, which is Potter and Perry Fundamentals, and it shows all of the highlights here off to the side. So we're going to, since I already did this chapter quite some time ago, it looks like it's chapter 2. And I'm right, it is chapter 2. So you want to go through and you want to take the things that you've highlighted and you export it. And actually, before I learned how to highlight very well, it looks like I did this chapter. So I would have normally highlighted this diagram and different things like that. But just as an example on how to actually export out all of your highlights. Okay, I found a better example of a chapter here. This is chapter, I'm not sure, chapter 24 it looks like. Okay, and you'll see that I've gone through and I've done pretty much the same thing that I've asked you to do. The chapter headings, any definitions, any statistics, anything that stands out to me. And as you're going down through here, probably any diagrams, and I'm not sure that this chapter has any diagrams either, but I showed you one just a minute ago. So let's say that you wanted to take these notes and you wanted to get it out onto something that you could share these notes with everybody. Well, theoretically, what you're supposed to be able to do is you're supposed to come over here and you start with your first note, and this is in your notes section. So normally you'd have your content, you have your terms, figures, and then you have your notes. And so let me go back and find where my notes are at again. And the good thing is, since they're highlighted a certain color, I know that whenever I've reached it is whenever that color matches that color. So in this case, I'm going to start off here, and I'm just going to go down to the bottom, and all I did is I just left clicked on that, and I'm going to go down to the bottom here. I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to left click there on the one on the bottom. So I left clicked the one on the top, held down my shift key, left clicked the one on the bottom, and then I have all of those things highlighted. So let's see. Now what I'm going to do is I want to right click on just any one of those and say copy selected highlights and notes. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to a Word document. Let me see if I can find my Word. I think I'm probably going to need to look in here. Okay, when your Word document opens up, now what you want to do is you can right click and paste, and here's kind of how it comes out. Now you have to be careful whenever you do this. Pageburst has some kind of a flaw to where sometimes it doesn't copy all of the things that are selected. So what I would do is whenever you go over to Pageburst, I would come over here and I would count every single one of these that you have highlighted. I mean, just literally go all the way down. And then whenever you come back over here to your Microsoft Word, I like to switch to web view. You'll see that at the beginning of every single one of these notes, it has the word communication there. Okay. So then I'd come through here and just count each one of those column headings. Now that will save you a lot of trouble in the end, and I know that that's a pain. But it is necessary, absolutely necessary that you do that. So I would go through here and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and each one of these is a highlight that you've taken over from the paragraph. So sometimes what will happen is you'll have here in Pageburst, you might have 110 things copied here. That whenever you come over here to Microsoft Word, maybe you might only have 60 things copied here. So if you just, without counting that, you wouldn't have known that. So actually I'm pretty close to the 15-minute mark in this video. I'll have to start another video and we'll show you how to do something with these notes so that they're actually readable.